Hi, this is Jodi. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my host code for August 2018 and some options that you have when you place an order with me. First of all, when you go to stampwithjodi.com, you'll be able to place your orders, see my upcoming events, and get lots of creative ideas. So, the August host code is right here, and when you do a $50 minimum order, you have two options to choose from. Option number one is a $5 voucher, and option two is my free card kit. I've done a free card kit in the mail for years, and so that is still the same for those of you that are enjoying that, but I'm also including the option of a $5 voucher. So how this will work is that for every $50 you order using this host code, you will get a $5 voucher. So once I see that your order's been placed, I see that host code, I'll send you a card in the mail and it will include your voucher. Those can be accumulated, saved up. You can save up for something big you've been wanting or put it towards something. It's just like cash. So when you're ready to redeem them, you'll just let me know what you want to order and use that as your form of payment. Your other option is to get the free card kit in the mail, and that's what I'm going to show you today, the different cards that I have for August, and the kit includes the consumable supplies as well as the instructions. The other thing I wanted to mention is that with either of these options, no matter which one you choose, if you do an order that is $150 or more, you will qualify for Stampin' Rewards from Stampin' Up. So don't use my host code in that case. Get your free product from Stampin' Up, and I will still honor whichever option you choose. If you're ordering $150 at a time, you're going to get like a double bonus because you're going to get free product and rewards from Stampin' Up, and you'll also get to choose one of my options. So let me set this aside and tell you more about my card kit for this month. I am using the Grateful Glass Suite, and this is on 164 and 165 in the annual catalog. The stamp set here, I'll pull up closer, this is an 8-piece stamp set, and it's wood mount or clear mount. And this piece right here, you can see there's a little bit of shadowing or color behind it. This coordinates with the 2-inch circle punch. And then we also have over here stained glass thinlits that coordinate with the stamp set. So you can purchase this stamp set, like I said, wood mount or clear mount, or you can get the framelits separately, but over here is where you can bundle and save. So if you purchase them together at the same time, you're going to save 10%. And then there's also shown on the page some other coordinating products that we have. And what I want to point out is this vellum down on the bottom of the page because it absolutely does not do it justice in the catalog. So you'll have to forgive me because some of these pieces, I've been playing with this a lot. And so, you know, they're cut into, they're not necessarily full pieces. But what I want, oh yeah, there you can see. There's the shimmer there. This is like embossed, a very, very, it's not a deep embossing, like when you emboss something with our embossing powder, you know, it's a deeper embossed image. This is just a light embossed. It's not real deep, but it definitely has that shine to it. And so there are all these different patterns. They're all 6x6 sheets, and you get 24, I believe there's 12 different patterns, and you get 2 of each of them. So I'm just pulling them in here really quickly so you can see, because like I said, the catalog just doesn't do it justice here to show you all of the different patterns. And the best way that I have found to color on this printed vellum is with our Stampin Blends. And so that's what I'm featuring in the card kit this month, and that's what I want to show you. So I'm gonna set aside the vellum. I already showed you the stamp set in the catalog. There's some nice versatile greetings here, some smaller images, and then this larger circle. It looks like a stained glass window. If you've ever been in an old church, you know that there's lots of windows in old churches that look like this that are beautiful stained glass. And then these are the thinlits, and I just want to pull them out here real quickly to show you. So these coordinate with the flower, bird, and butterfly, and then you've got these other pieces to use. What I'm going to do is show you some of the samples here in the catalog. So you can see this black right here, that's one of the framelits. This rounded piece here, as well as the square. This black behind the greeting here. Those are all part of the framelits. Over here on these little cards, you see that texture there? That's another framelit. So they just add a lot to the backgrounds. You can also use the new embossing pads, and instead of cutting all the way through with these thinlits, you can actually get an embossed look with that as well. So I'm going to set that stuff aside and pull in the cards that are included in this month's card kit. So again, just to make sure everyone understands, when you choose option 2, which is the free card kit, you're going to get all of these pieces cut. You're going to get the ribbon, like this that's embossed here in the background, that will be embossed for you. Any embellishments, these shapes, all of that is mailed to you, and then you get a PDF emailed, and that's got step-by-step instructions how to make all 4 cards. So I'll pull these in one at a time to show you. Hopefully you can see the circle here has a little bit of shimmer to it. I stamped with Memento black ink onto shimmery white cardstock to get that circle, and then there's a black scallop circle behind it. This is some printed vellum. And you might notice I colored just the little dots, just those little circles with the Pineapple Punch Stampin' Blend. And just so you know, this is Highland Heather, Pineapple Punch, Poppy Parade, that one is Bermuda Bay. This, oops, I'm not showing that very well. Right here is Lovely Lipstick, and then that little spot in there is Call Me Clover. So those are all the different colors, and I actually have them here in this tin to show you too. So if you order this, if you place your order and choose option 2, the free card kit, you'll want to make sure you have the black Memento ink and Stampin' Blends to do your coloring. Now you don't have to use the exact same colors I used. When you're coloring, if you have other blends that you want to use, that's fine. But the ones I used again were Lovely Lipstick, Poppy Parade, Pineapple Punch, Highland Heather, Call Me Clover, and Bermuda Bay. So those are the colors that you'll see on these samples that I'm showing. The other thing on here is the black ribbon that I added to the bottom, and there's a little tiny black rhinestone there in the center. The next card, this is also shimmery white. You can probably see a little bit of sparkle there, and I embossed that. This is printed vellum here that I colored with the blends, and I always put a piece of white behind the vellum just to make it really pop. That's layered on black, the black scalloped oval, another rhinestone here. This one, I think you can pick up on the shimmery on that flower pretty well. This is printed vellum here, and it was a lot of coloring, but it wasn't really hard because I did all, the same color going all the way down, so it was pretty easy to do that. And then I used one of the pearlized doilies, and there's a punched Call Me Clover circle stuck behind there. A little bit of black sequins. And then this last one. So first of all, I just cut a triangle there just to give it a little bit of a different look on the front. And you can see here it's got a little bit of texture. This was with the subtle embossing folder, and this is Lovely Lipstick and Pineapple Punch. There's some of that same black ribbon I showed you on the first card. And then what I want to do is just take a moment and show you how I did this element right here. And that way, if you get the card kit in the mail, you'll have an idea of how to put that together as well. Of course, you do get the instructions, but sometimes it's nice to have a visual. So I cut this out using the Thinlit with basic black cardstock, and then this is a piece of shimmery white cardstock. This is 2.5 by 2.5 inches. So what I'm going to do, you can see these lines on here are really, really small. It would be tough to get my regular adhesive on there to stick it down onto this piece of cardstock. So what I'm going to do is set this face down and give myself a little puddle of glue over here. This is the multi-purpose liquid glue. And then I took one of our Stampin' sponges. I always just cut like a little wedge. I don't need a whole sponge for this. So I'm just gonna dab it in the glue and then tap it. Now you might notice I'm using a silicone pad, so I'm not working just on my scrap paper. There's the silicone pad underneath, and that allows for really easy cleanup with this glue, and my cardstock isn't going to stick to any scrap paper. So I'm just gonna lift it off. We'll come back to that in a moment, and set it right on the shimmery white square. I'm standing up, so this may be easier to line up if I was sitting down, but we'll make it work. And I'm just going to turn it over and press it down onto there. I didn't get it quite centered. You can see some edges there, but again, if I was sitting down and looking at it more at eye level, it would be a little bit better. Okay, scooch that over just a bit. It'll give you the idea for sure. Now let's come back to this really quickly. You might be able to see some glossy spots on here from the glue. What that does is just balls up. Hopefully you can see that, how I'm just balling it up like that, and it'll come right off, and then your silicone sheet is ready to use again. So this is a really handy tool. If you don't have this already, it comes in handy when doing this gluing technique, and also like anything you do with your hot glue gun, I always have that out. Okay, next thing I want to do is take this printed vellum, and I'm just going to put some of my snail adhesive across the back, and I'm going to stick it right in the center here. And what's interesting to me is that when we use our regular vellum cardstock, I always see my adhesive through it. With this printed vellum, it's just a little bit thicker. I don't know what the difference is for sure, but I've been playing with it a lot and I never see my adhesive through it, which makes it even easier to work with. So I can add a little bit there, you're not going to see it, and a little bit up here that you're not going to see either. Usually when I work with vellum, I'm really strategic about where I put my adhesive, and I just put it where I know something else is going to cover it up later. Okay, so really quickly, I just wanted to show you a little bit what I did here. You may not even notice the difference between these two lines. If I bring it up close like this, you can probably tell that's darker and that's lighter. So what I did with our Stampin Blends, if you're not familiar with these, we have a fine point end, or more of a bullet end, and a brush end, and that's signified by the thickness of the line there. You want to make sure when you're using the blends, because they are an alcohol marker, you need to make sure you hear that click. You know that the cap's on tight and it won't dry out. So this is my dark pineapple punch, and so I'm going to just color right in that space, and I would go all around and do that, and then come back in with the light and color on the outside. You might not notice either what I did down here with this, this is called me Clover. It's dark in the center and the lighter one on the outside. Then in these corners, that is Lovely Lipstick, and I just started with a little bit of dark in the corner like that. It's just the tiniest bit, tiny bit, and then I'm going to come back in with the lighter one and color in some more, finish coloring. Do you see how there's still a pretty defined line there between the dark and the light? So I'm just going to go over it, and that's just blending it together. So now I have that progression from dark in the corner to lighter in the outside corner. So there's just some details on there that I wanted to point out, just the different shades of color that I used, and just to show you that gluing technique. It's a really easy way to glue down the pieces you get from these thinlits, because they are very fine and delicate, and that just gives you an easy way to do that. You can also use our adhesive sheets. The only thing I didn't like about that with this one, let me pull this back in. If I put one of our adhesive sheets on some cardstock and ran this through, I would have this whole center part that has adhesive sheet on it, but that's not really getting used. And so I guess I'm a little more stingy than that with my adhesive sheets, and I preferred this other sponging glue technique to get the fine lines here. So the rest of them I think are pretty self-explanatory, but like I said, you do get instructions, so you won't have any problems at all. So place your order at stampwithjodi.com before the end of the month. Use the host code you see, unless it's 150 or more. Then you just need to let me know if you choose option 1 or 2, and I will get whichever one you choose out in the mail to you right away. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask, and thanks so much for joining me today.